Hey guys, my video intro got deleted, so I'm going to do a quick audio intro here. I'm back today with another episode, this one with Vanessa Demopoulos, UFC strawweight, and honestly, I had such a fun time with her. Vanessa's got a fascinating story from moving to the US from Greece when she was just a kid. She wasn't able to speak English. She became a stripper, used that to launch herself into MMA. We talk about her whole journey, her faith, and most importantly, how she's been able to hold on to her sense of self and her values over the years. She's also just really sweet. I had a lot of fun with her when she sat down with me in Vegas only a few days after she fought, which honestly not a lot of fighters are really willing to do. Quick side note, if you're watching on YouTube, I feel like my resting bitch face was really coming out in this episode. I do have one. I'm not mad. I'm not bored. That's just my face. I honestly had a great time with her, and I hope you guys enjoy the episode.
Can you repeat what you had for breakfast this morning? Because I didn't want to give it too much of a reaction because I wanted to make you repeat it.
Yeah.
What did you have for breakfast this morning, Vanessa?
This morning I drank my egg whites with a little bit of coffee creamer.
You went to the store to specifically get egg whites, right?
Yeah, I ran out of breakfast, so I had to go and buy eggs, and I was gonna just drink the eggs, but I drank egg whites instead, and a half glass, which is quite a bit. But I just didn't feel like cooking them. I could cook them, but I'm all right, just protein, carbs, a little bit of fats, and I got to get going.
And
I got
raw,
things,
right?
Yeah.
Clear.
I just drank them.
Oh my
God. Just drink them raw.
My boyfriend went on this weird diet in because we were in Thailand for a couple of years, and we went to a bunch of weird doctors and things because he had a bunch of health issues. At one point, he was drinking raw eggs for a month.
Yeah.
And I tried it a few times. I wanted to throw up every time. So I give you so much credit because I could not stomach it. It was there's something about the texture.
I feel it was definitely an acquisition phase where I had to get used to drinking the eggs at first. Because the first time I was oh, but after that I was fine. Now I'm just used to it. Yeah, now I just take it back and then I go about my day,
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being available. I'm so excited to have you on because I feel like your story is so interesting. And especially with everything you've gone through in your super interesting story, you're someone, a fighter who I feel like is just happy to be here. No matter what, your energy is always so light. So I just thought you'd be such a fun person to chat with.
Thank you so much. I do. I love life.
Yeah.
I love life. I love fighting. I love everything about the sport and the game. And I'm just really grateful to be able to have the opportunities that I have. I love Jesus a lot. That's really in my heart. And I think because of where I came from, I just have this large appreciation for everything that's ahead of me. Right. I was a stripper. So that's where I came from. And it's to come from that and to make it out the cut. I mean, anything is better than that, right? That was just such a Shark Tank of a lifestyle. Everything about that lifestyle is just very negative, very draining, very drowning. So they say that industry is either a stepping stone or a gravestone. And it depends on how it is that you look at it. So I really utilized being an entertainer because that's how I grew up. My mom was a dancer. My dad was a DJ. And I used that industry to catapult me into fighting. I found fighting when I was 21. I found dancing when I was 18. So once I found fighting, I really just clung onto it with everything that was in me. And I would dance enough just to be able to support myself, to eat the right foods, and sometimes put a roof over my head and just make sure that I could make this dream come true. And now I'm finally here. Yeah.
That's incredible. And I have a lot of questions for you about that transition, but I wanted to go back a little further because I did my fair stalking this morning of your interviews. So you are Greek, right?
Mm-hmm.
You grew up in Greece for a portion of your early life. Up until what age?
I was born in America, raised in Greece until about, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 years old, and then I moved back to America.
Oh my God, how was that culture shock?
I couldn't even speak to my own mother when I came back to America because she's American.
Your mom did not come to Greece with you?
Yeah, I was raised by my grandparents.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I specifically remember trying to communicate with my mom and telling my dad hey, tell my mom I love her and things like that. Yeah.
That is crazy. And how was it transitioning to going to public school and everything like that when you didn't know the language?
I was held back in the first grade for 2 years.
Okay.
So I specifically remember like not being able to communicate with kids, and they thought I was like the weird kid, like, because I was the weird kid. I didn't even know how to talk. So if I needed something like a pencil, I'd have to just take things from people and they'd get mad at me. And
Bitch, all my supplies.
I specifically remember not understanding anything in class except for the numbers. Like math made sense because math is universal with numbers. But yeah, I didn't understand anything for quite some time. Yeah.
Have you gone back to Greece since then?
Mm-hmm.
How connected do you feel to that versus America as your home country?
I'm American at this point, but we used to go back every single year, and we still have property over in Greece.
Oh, that's sick.
I know. And I love it. It's my heart. I was raised by my grandparents who were straight from Greece. And my papu actually recently passed, but we did get to go and have one final trip with him. So I was just there like 2 years ago. And yeah, even like now, I'm having conversations with people and they're like, come to Greece and do a seminar. And I really want to go over there and just enjoy. I love Greece so much. And I mean, it's my roots, and I feel very connected with Greece. It's such a different lifestyle over there in Europe, in general.
You should do a seminar tour. Those are like super fun to put together, be able to travel around. That's awesome. Do you speak Greek? I took a semester in college, so I know the alphabet.
I'm
I have no idea what you just said. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta. I can do the alphabet. But are you fluent still?
I'm partially fluent, right?
Yeah,
I can still speak Greek. I can still communicate appropriately, but I feel like I've lost a lot of it. Because I don't have anyone to talk to anymore. Yeah. It's not like I'm speaking Greek every day with my family. I don't really I'm out here by myself in Las Vegas, right? But when I do make my trips over to Greece, it comes back so fast. Immediately I'm like, oh, I got this. And we pick it right back up where I left off.
That's awesome. Do you think maybe retire there someday or something like that? Not really.
I've been to so many countries at this point. I don't know where I'll end up when I'm done fighting. I love Brazil. I love Australia. New Zealand is beautiful.
Have you been able to do a lot of traveling?
Yes.
Because of fighting?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Because I do commentating as well. So they just, fly us all around the world. And
oh my gosh, that's awesome.
It's amazing. What a cool life that I've built.
That's incredible. So when I was learning Greek, it was at a time where I wanted to learn it because I could better understand scripture. So that was why I wanted to learn Greek, so I could read things in the native language and pick apart. Do you feel like that plays a role at all? Because I know your faith is really important to you.
My faith is so important to me, but no, I can't even read Greek.
Oh, never mind. I can't read any Greek either. That was freshman year.
Yeah. And I grew up in a Greek Orthodox church, but I felt like at church, so I was connected with the Spirit, but they spoke in ancient Greek. And when you're in Greek Orthodox, at least the church that I went to, they sang in chanting. And it's ancient Greek and singing. So there wasn't a lot of understanding, but there was a lot of grasp of the spirit and the culture, right?
It must have been beautiful, though. It's very different from our churches here.
Yeah. American churches are very new age, very casual. There's a whole rock concert going on before church starts.
A fog machine. We got everything.
It's different.
It's just something.
Different time.
Yeah. So you moved back, Ohio, right?
Yes, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
Which was an interesting choice to move back to America from.
Hey, listen, I didn't choose it. It chose me, okay?
I haven't been to Ohio, so I don't really know. I'm just talking shit.
Yeah.
Growing up from 8 to 10 to graduating high school, how was that? Do you feel like you were able to transition pretty seamlessly? Were there any bumps along the road?
Oh, all the bumps, girl. We're not even talking speed bumps. We're talking
summer and
dunes. The car was flipping over. I started fighting people in middle school, and I feel like it's because I was such a dork and such a nerd, and I never found my place. Right?
The nerds at my school were not fighting.
Well, I got picked on a lot.
So you were just defending yourself, or were you picking the fights?
No, okay. Here's the hot bit, right? Because at first I was getting picked on, and I was just eating it because I was little, I was always very small, and then I just started sticking up for myself. And I saw other people getting bullied. I never stuck up for myself when I was getting bullied. But when I saw other people getting bullied, that's when I stepped in. And I remember one time my bully was picking on someone else. And I walked up to him and I socked him in the nose. I was like, pick on someone your own size. And he was like a big
all
person.
boys, right?
Yeah, I've never fought a girl until I became a fighter.
Yeah, until you had to.
Yeah. And I was like, pick on someone your own size. And then I was like, oh no. And we like walked around looking for a medic after that together.
A medic?
Yeah,
did you break his nose?
I don't know. I socked him though. Because I felt bad for the person he was picking on.
Yeah.
Because I knew what that felt like for myself. And then I just got really tough and I just started fighting people and I'd like pick a lot of fights with boys, probably unnecessarily, not going to lie.
Yeah.
But if I ever saw somebody getting picked on, I was the first person to walk up and shove someone because I just wasn't going to stand for that. And
I feel like you talk about this early life, like you just were ready to fight at any given moment. And now when you do fight for a living, you just seem so at peace and light. And like, I don't see you picking a fight with random people. Maybe you do. I don't know. But it's interesting to see that transition.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I love it now. You know, I come from a different place now.
Yeah.
When I was in school, I had a lot of like anxious energy and a lot of like just anger. And I was very displaced. Mm-hmm. And I feel that a lot of kids nowadays, like I just wish I could speak to them because it's energy and it's what are you doing with that energy and where are you placing that energy and how are you framing that energy? And these aren't things that we realize until we're adults, right? Because when we're kids, it's like we're being raised by people who are still raising themselves.
Yeah.
We're being raised by people who haven't themselves figured it out. Again, I was raised by my grandparents who came from an old country and my parents were just rough and tumbling and just like fumbling around. So I didn't really have much guidance. And I know that there's so many kids out there that are, you know, either fighting in school or, you know, they're just dorks or nerds and they can't figure it out and they feel like they're getting bullied all the time. And I'm just like, love yourself, you know, like just love yourself a little bit. Understand that this is just energy and it's where are we putting this energy towards? Mm-hmm. And now as an adult, I found fighting and I just get to like go to the gym every single day and be in this giant playground where I fuck shit up and I'm with my friends and I get to socialize and we beat the shit out of each other and we have so much fun doing it, you know, and like, it's like the harder we go, we're like, yeah, let's go again. And it's fun. And I get to do that every day. And now that's my job and that's my whole life.
That's something I love so much about the martial arts community because I've had like some smokers, right? Like I'm not a fighter. My boyfriend is, but I lived in Thailand for a couple years at a gym there. So I've been around to different gyms and stuff. And everywhere I go, it just feels like we're all kids playing. Yeah. And I haven't felt that feeling in adulthood other than in the martial arts gym.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when we were kids growing up, what did we do? Well, I mean, I don't know about most kids.
Everyone. We had picked fights with the boys.
Listen, okay. But with your friends, you know, like you play fight and like you have fun and like you do like the WWE stuff and like you're like jumping off the couches and getting yelled at by your parents. Like, hey, don't mess up my furniture. And you're like, okay. And then like you guys get hurt, right? And then you're like, shh, don't tell the adults. Like, I mean, I just always had so much fun as a kid and now I get to do it as an adult, you know? And I always try to like tell people that because people are so scared to train. And I'm like, just
scary.
Just enjoy it. Yeah. Like
there are so many steps before you get to be like in the octagon doing the really scary stuff. Like you have plenty of time to just like have fun.
1,000,000%. Yes.
Yeah. So you talk about having this kind of like, I don't know if I want to say like turbulent, but transition to adulthood where you've mentioned struggling with addiction and then you started dancing. Around what time did that start? Like 18, you said?
Oh, yeah. I started dancing when I was 18 years old.
What spurred you to start? And also, I'm curious because you said your mom was a dancer, right? Mm-hmm. What did you think of dancing growing up? Because I remember me, like, I had this really skewed idea of it. And now, like, you know, I've done pole dancing classes. I have friends who are dancers. Like, it's not that big of a deal, which, by the way, it's so fucking athletic.
It's
like,
so hard to do.
Could not believe how difficult it was. And, I've like had smokers, I've trained. I thought I was pretty athletic at the time. I had like a 6-pack. Thought there was like some trick to pulling yourself up on the pole and doing what you do. There's no trick. So athletic. Anyway, I have so much respect for that. It's so cool.
Thank you.
So growing up with your mom being a dancer, what was your opinion of dancers growing up?
Well, I didn't actually know that that's what my parents did
Really?
until I was like almost closer to adulthood. Right. So it's not like I grew up knowing like, oh, yeah, like this is what mom does and this is what dad does. But I did know that they were kind of like rough and tumbled.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was always very comfortable with herself. And my dad was always, he actually taught me like how to just really own who I am. Like he never lied to us about absolutely anything. And he always just made me feel so accepted, no matter who I was and chose to be. So, I'm sorry, you asked how I felt about like my parents doing it. I didn't really know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I knew that they were rough. Like I knew that like I wasn't allowed to be with them. But
Did you know by the time that you decided that you wanted to dance?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I was like, that would have been a crazy coincidence if that had just happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And my dad actually helped me through the industry.
Oh, honestly, if you're going to go through the industry, having someone that kind of has your back like that has got to be so valuable.
I think that if I didn't have my father to guide me, I don't know how I would have ended up.
Yeah.
But he really always taught me like, listen, like keep your morals, keep your values. Like don't ever sell those. Like there is no dollar amount that's more valuable than who it is that you get to look back at in the mirror at the end of the day. So like I never broke my values throughout the entire 13 years that I was a stripper. So now it's like I still get to hold my head high and be confident in who I am. And we all have a different moral code, right? Like what may be okay for one person may not be okay for another, but who am I to judge them, right?
Yeah.
So to like be in that industry and like see all of these crazy things happening all around me, but knowing who I am and being confident in that and never breaking what was valuable to me is why I get to be this lighthearted person that I am, because I never sold myself for money. My values aren't for sale.
Yeah.
They never have been. And I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah.
That I had that guidance.
Actually, I saw that you wrote a book, right? The Strippers Bible,
Stripper
something
Bible.
like that.
Yeah.
And it's about that, right? Like how to I'll let you explain it.
I wrote it because my dad helped me. So it's a book on how to help girls make money without compromising their morals and values. And again, like I don't shame girls, like you do you, boo-boo. Like we're all comfortable with something different. But I got to go through this industry and I made so much money. Yeah. Like I was a hustler and I had it down and I never compromised because I was just a really good entertainer. I knew how to have fun and I knew how to let other people have fun in the industry. And I got to make money and walk away and be okay. So I literally wrote the book to help other girls.
I love that you wrote the book. I couldn't wait to ask you about that. What do you feel like was the core of the value that made people like you so much?
Well, that's the pinnacle of sales, right? Which is understanding your audience, and knowing what it is that they're there for. Some guys are there with a group of their friends, and they're just trying to have a good time. Yeah. So then I can bring the energy. Yeah. And then maybe somebody's in there and they're by themselves, and nobody has even asked them how their day was today. Nobody's even like reached out to like give them any sort of like just like hold them on the shoulder and tell them how amazing they are. Yeah. Like little things, just smile at them and show that you care a little bit.
Because everyone wants some kind of human connection when they walk in there, no matter what it is.
Absolutely.
And you must be so good at reading people now.
I mean, a little bit. I think being an entertainer is probably the only industry where you're catering to like the elites as well as the people who are just getting out of prison and everybody in between.
And everybody's the same.
Everybody walks through the doors.
Wow. So I did pole, like fitness pole, I didn't work as a dancer or anything, but for like 6 months, enough to know it's really fucking hard, like so challenging. When you started, did you already know how to pole dance before, or do you just get taught over time? Because it's a skill. It's not like you can just jump up there and do stuff. It's like a huge athletic endeavor. Do other girls help you out? How does that work?
You don't. I didn't walk in there knowing anything. By the way, I was like a broken maraca, like just trying to like just shake whatever things I didn't have at that time.
Yeah.
I was like 104 pounds soaking wet back
Oh
then.
my gosh.
Yeah, I was a tiny little thing. And I looked at pole dancing. So I used to be a skater chick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at pole
I can
dancing.
see that for you. I think you got those cool vibes. Yeah.
Yeah. I looked at it like skating tricks, where I was like, okay, if I can do a trick 3 times in a row, that's it. I own that trick. So, and I just really like fell in love with pole dancing.
It's beautiful.
It's so much
I love
fun.
it. Yeah. I wish I would have. I got injured, but I can have an appreciation for it, how difficult it is and how beautiful it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just cared to learn. And I would see girls doing something and I would just watch them and I'd be like, okay, I can do it. And like, I just think about it and I'd fall a lot. But I would go in on the super dead shifts, right? Like the day shifts where there's nobody in there and I would just practice. And I would like ask girls sometimes, but they weren't always very nice.
Yeah.
So I would just watch and try to learn myself.
It's great that you went in during the day shifts, but you kind of have to learn by doing. And sometimes you like ever wipe out during a shift.
Oh yeah. You fall once because then you learn or you die.
Yeah.
Like there's no net. People don't recognize this, right? Like, okay, if you go to a Cirque du Soleil, there's nets to catch these people most of the time. You know, like
a ton of training.
And
Like
a ton of
training. You have all the resources you need, everything.
There's people there that'll kind of swoop in, like if an accident happens. Like with us, there's just a marble floor. You know, and these poles sometimes are 3 stories high.
Crazy.
I fell one time really, really badly, and I thought I broke my neck and my back in the same fall.
Concussion?
Terribly. I actually fell asleep on a bag of ice, and I was really grateful to wake up after that. And I went back the next day to this club. I remember it was in Atlanta, Magic City in Atlanta. And I went back the next day and I did the exact same trick that almost killed me the night before because I didn't want to be scared. You know, I didn't want that trip, moment to own me. So I wanted to overcome that moment. And I was like, I know how to do this. I just slipped. And I feel like pole dancing really segued me into fighting, right? I mean, it directly is the reason why I am a fighter. But it also helped me so much to have like body awareness and strength and durability,
flexibility, functional strength,
spatial awareness, understanding where I am. Because when you're doing pole dancing, you're flipping around a lot. And like you got to kind of know where the pole is. Yeah. And it's the same thing when it comes to jujitsu. You have to understand like this is where my body is and this is where their body is. And this is
your center of gravity and being able to keep an eye on that. Yeah, I'm sure that did help a lot.
Yes, it helps so much. So my jujitsu is my transition stuff is so different than like the common things that are taught. I feel like there's a lot of things that I do that are very unorthodox in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's so cool that a background that maybe has some negatives about it is able to give you this super unique style and this way of learning and, you know, be able to benefit you in such a cool way down the line.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Do you feel like growing up the way you did and working in the industry changed your perspective of like relationships at all or what you look for in a partner?
Yeah. It made me be a little bit more patient, you know, and I can't speak too much because I am so single. So it's not like I'm like, this is how you have a healthy relationship post the industry.
Good
let me know. Yeah, somebody with good values. I feel like I saw a lot of things that could have potentially really skewed my opinion of relationships, you know, but I think that at the end of the day, most people are good people who have good intentions. And it's just about finding that right person that has acceptance in their heart, you know, for not only themselves, but everything that's around them. Yeah. And I feel like the industry has really opened my mind up to accepting people as they are and just seeing them where they're at, you know, versus trying like, well, you can't judge anybody on a past that they've had. I certainly couldn't be judged on mine. I want to meet people where they're at.
Yeah, it's so cool that you're able to show that as well. Because again, like I said, you're someone who exudes so much light. Like you walk around, you're so friendly. You're so happy. You're so,
Thank you so much for that, by the way. Thank you so much for that.
Of course.
Okay, guys, this show was brought to you by the best sports book in the game, MyBookie. Look, I love watching fights, obviously, but my favorite way to kind of like up the ante a little bit, make things a little bit more interesting, is throwing a wager on it. Now, some of you guys may know this already, but I actually started my combat sports journey with Muay Thai. And Muay Thai in Thailand, like, you can't have that without sports betting. I have so many fond memories of betting on a fight with my trainer in Thailand while we're watching some fights, or with like random people around me. It always made things so much more fun. It was a way to connect with people. And my bookie is the modern 21st century version of this. It gives you like a little extra personal stake in a fight. So whether you're competing against friends, maybe you're putting some money on your favorite fighter, maybe you're betting against your favorite fighter so you get a little like consolation prize. So if you want to do it, my bookie is the place to do it. And on a personal note, I love my bookie. I've really enjoyed working with them. They have been so supportive of this project. They've been awesome to work with. So if you want to make a parlay on some upcoming fights and support the show, like, the best way to do that is going to mybookie.com and using code Kennedy. It helps me, it helps the show. It also gives you a 50% bonus on a deposit of up to $1,000, so it helps you. Once again, that is code Kennedy, Kennedy, and we'll head back to the show now.
And so you are dancing, and I think you told me, you got to give me the story, but a manager made an offhand comment about you fighting or something like that. How did that happen?
So, like in life, when it came to entertaining, I was a weirdo.
Yeah.
And I used to wear like this one giant hockey sock. Just one, though. And
This is one sock?
one giant hockey sock that came all the way up to my thigh.
Okay.
Yeah. And there were so many rumors that would go around about like, oh, she has burn marks on her leg, and like what the sock was covering up.
Yeah.
So girls would like try to pick fights with me and stuff all the time.
About your sock?
About my sock. And I'm like, guys, you see me in the locker room. Like, what are we talking about here? And yeah, so a lot of girls wanted to fight me all the time. I was rowdy. The manager was like kind of being rude to me, and he was a kickboxing instructor.
Okay.
He was like, you know,
Real kickboxing instructor, like cardio?
like Muay Thai kick. Like
Oh,
Muay
okay,
Thai
the coach.
He was a Muay Thai fighter.
Okay.
A Muay Thai
Okay,
coach.
cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And he had fought MMA. Yeah.
Okay.
And he was being like rude to me because
Yeah.
he didn't like me, and he was kind of being mean. He's like, you know, if you put half that skill that you put towards the pole, towards something like fighting, you might do something with your life. And I was like, all right, teach me how to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, no. He's like, people go to the gym to get away from crazy people like you. I was like, please, if you teach me how to fight, I promise I'll respect the gym. I will totally be kind and sweet and nice and just listen to you, because I was bad, you know? And at this time, I was still like really fucked up, you know? Like, I was still like in my crazy drug era. And I was like, I promise I'll be respectful. And he took me in.
Wow.
The very first day, though, I threw up. I almost passed out a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was rough. And he's like, if you're gonna pass out, go outside and do that. Yeah, I mean, I could intensively dance for 9 minutes at a time.
Yeah, but
But
pads?
3 minutes on the bag, forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I almost died a few times, and I remember the thought process. Like, I remember thinking, like, this is stupid. Why am I here? This sucks. I'm literally never doing this again, or I'm gonna go all in. There was zero in between for me, because it was so hard, and he really did not want me there. Like, he really didn't want to teach me.
Do you think there's part of you that thrived from like being stubborn or having people tell you no?
Oh, absolutely. He doesn't want me here. Yeah. We ended up dating for 5 years after that.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He became my boyfriend and my coach.
What a story.
Yeah, we ended up dating for 5 years, and even like the whole like fight thing. When we split off, he thought that I wasn't gonna want to fight anymore, and I was like, no, like, I genuinely love this. Like, I'm gonna continue forth with this. Yeah.
From your book, if you're talking to young women, I guess, who are dancers, what are 2 tips around not sacrificing your values but still being able to be successful?
The biggest one is,
I wish I had time to read your book before this. I might read it after. I'm so interested.
I'll give you a copy.
Yeah.
Take time to listen. Take time to listen, you know, because they'll tell you why they're there, and they'll tell you how to sell them. So when you introduce yourself, take a second and just hear them. you know, because they'll tell you like, oh, you know, I've had a long day. Da, da. Okay, so you just need some attention. Or they'll be like, yo, I'm just here with my friends. I don't even get dances. I'm just here with my friends. Like, oh, you're here to party. Like, they'll tell you what it is that they're looking forward to. And when it comes to like not compromising your values, just like stay strong in who you are, right? Like everybody is there for different reasons. And even to the people that thought that, like, there were men that would come in and they would think that they wanted to do some crazy shit. And I would tell them no, and I would hold strong to myself, and they would actually tip me more money because they didn't really want to do those things.
Yeah.
They just thought that that's what they wanted in the moment. And when I gave them entertainment and when I gave them attention and when I like just listened to them and was there, they were like, oh, that's actually what I needed. I didn't
want connection.
Yeah.
That everybody wants.
I didn't need the sexual stuff. I just wanted somebody to hear me and be here with me. And I'd actually get tipped more money for holding my own values and for helping them to not compromise theirs. Because sometimes they think that they want something they really don't.
It's incredible to do that for 13 years and feel like you held strong to yourself and your values. Do you feel like even though there's so much bad about the industry, there are things that you can look back on and be like, this was a good thing out of it? Like maybe I got to connect with so many people, or I learned how to read people in a positive way, or is there anything? I'm not saying like I'm not trying to sell the like don't be a dancer. I'm not trying to sell that. But looking back, I mean, we talked about how it benefited your fight career just in terms of flexibility and balance.
I actually wrote a second book that I never published.
Wow.
And it's called Stripper Bible, but public edition.
Okay.
Because mine was entertainer edition.
Okay.
So I actually wrote the public edition, which is pulling the curtains back to show like, this is what everybody thinks the industry is. This is what the industry actually is.
Okay.
And here's where the lines are blurred.
Okay.
And I will say that for the most part, all of the stigmas around the industry are very unfortunately true.
Okay.
And it sucks, you know, because it's like they get a bad rap, but they've earned the bad rap. Mm-hmm. I personally feel like I got to walk away from the industry with so much, like you said, tools in my belt, right? Like I can read people. I'm very good at sales. Like I know myself. I value myself. I have confidence. I mean, if you can walk onto a stage and dance in your underwear while people are throwing money at you, you can walk into I can walk into a cage and fight someone in my underwear.
You're all right.
Yeah. I public speaking doesn't scare me. Mm-hmm. Like I've completely been so vulnerable, so publicly, in front of hundreds of people, thousands of people, and millions of people. So there's nothing that I'm scared of anymore. And I think that being an entertainer has really like prepared me to be the person that I am.
You've done all the scary things I can think of. Yeah.
Dude, what? Yeah. Every scary thing on the list. I've done it.
So at what point were you like, okay, yes, you're stubborn. You want to show that stupid manager that you can fight. At what point were you like, okay, I actually think I might want to do this, like for real?
As a fighter?
Yeah.
Man, there's day one.
Really?
Yeah. Because I was like, I'm going to quit. Fuck this. Like, I don't want to do this. This is terrible. And then I was like, is this going to be one more thing that I'm going to look back on and say, I could have done that, but I didn't want to. Like, I could have done that, but it just, I had other things on my list.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that. I was like, no, I'm going to see this through. Like, this is so hard. There's no way that I'm ever going to try this again if I'm not being serious about it. So day one, I was all in. I started training 3 times a day, right off the rip.
3 times a day? Wow.
Right off the rip. Like, I was taking no shortcuts, no breaks. I was literally sleeping on the mats, like, from day one. And in between my classes, I was, like, cleaning.
And still working.
The mat.
Right?
I was still working at night. Yeah. Oh, 100%. No, for a while. I just retired like 2.5 years ago.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
By the way. That's a huge accomplishment, too, because money doesn't come easy in fighting. So being able to take that jump is awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. That was huge. Yeah. But my coach was really mean to me, you know, then became my boyfriend. His nickname was Captain Miserable.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So I would train and he'd make me mop the mats and clean the mats afterwards. And then I would stay in the gym and then like I'd go and get lunch and come back and then keep training and then clean the mats again after every training session. Yeah.
At this point, did you have this really clear vision of your head of like, oh, I want to be a UFC champion, or was it pretty nebulous at that point? You were just like, I just like this. I want to be a fighter.
girls didn't fight in the UFC back then. There was no vision. I was just doing it. And it was crazy. And girls didn't do it back then. And I just knew that no matter what I was going to do, I was going to be the best. Mm-hmm. And I didn't care who saw me. I didn't care what it mattered to anybody else. I knew I wanted to be my best every day. I felt that way as an entertainer. I always wanted to be the best entertainer I could be. I always wanted to get the most lap dances I could get. I always wanted to be the best pole dancer I could be every day. And when it came to fighting, like I wanted to be, the best at what I did in that moment. And I didn't give a shit about anybody else. Mm. I don't compare myself to other people. Why should I put myself up against somebody else's chapter 10 when I'm still figuring out chapter 3? If I can do me every day, then I knew that like one day everything was going to be amazing. And I didn't have a fucking vision. I just knew I wanted to be fucking great in that moment. I remember when my coach was like, oh, you got to start doing MMA. Because at the time I was just a kickboxer. And we built an MMA gym.
Right.
And I was like, well, I don't want to fight MMA.
He's like, the money is.
He's like, that's what you have to do. And I was like, shit. I guess I have to learn jujitsu.
Yeah.
And I hated jujitsu. And I cried every day for like 6 months. Every single day. It was a running joke, actually, at the gym.
Why did you cry at jujitsu? Because I started jujitsu and I would get nervous and cry a little beforehand.
Okay, well, why would you cry?
I didn't like being really bad at something. And like anxiety about like not understanding how everything got put together. I'm sure there was like some social anxiety in it too. And I think I was just very frustrated. Like, how can I go and be able to fight Muay Thai? And I don't know the first thing about this. And it takes so long in jiu-jitsu to be able to put all the pieces together and really have some understanding of what was happening.
It was a little bit of that.
Okay.
But it was a lot of, I was the only girl in a gym full of middleweights. Mm-hmm. And they were all fucking me up. And I have no idea what I'm doing. Yeah. And I'm just getting mauled. And it's just like really like demoralizing.
Yeah.
To get so messed up every single day. And I felt so helpless.
Were you the only girl in the gym?
Yeah. Yeah. And I felt helpless. It's like I'm being overpowered. I can't do anything. Like I'm being held down. And I just like, yeah, it was a really like, it was a terrible feeling. And then I found my power when I saw new people walking into the gym. And I saw them feel the way that I felt. And I got to go up to them and hold their hand and be like, listen, it's okay. Like, I know what you're going through right now. And like, let me help you a little bit. And that to me was like, oh, wow, I'm learning something. And I can help other people with the things that I'm attaining. Yeah. And that felt so good to me. And I loved that. And then I got really good at jiu-jitsu and started competing all around the world. You figure it out, you figure it out. You find your power. You just kind of stick with it and just keep learning. And it's one puzzle piece at a time. I feel like jiu-jitsu is this giant puzzle that you got the box. You know what it's supposed to look like, but you don't even know where the pieces are. And going to class every day, like they give you a piece to the puzzle. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you lose the piece and you have to learn it like 2 or 3 more times before you finally have that piece and put it inside the puzzle.
So you have been in such interesting jobs in your life, right? Like we're making money. Obviously with stripping, there's a lot of more easy money. Like money comes fast, right? Money does not come fast in fighting. Like you have an interesting relationship. What's your relationship with money right now? Because I know my boyfriend is a certain way, and Jess, who I talked to last week, it's like they never really had it, so they don't really care about it to some extent. Like use it while you have it, but it's not really sitting in their brain like a lot of people do, and like it doesn't really consume their life.
Financial literacy is its own language.
Yeah.
And I like how you asked, what's your relationship with money? That's so powerful, because when I was an entertainer, my relationship was, it doesn't fucking matter. Yeah. Like, I'll make it and I don't give a shit what happens to it because I can just go and make more money.
Right.
And that was always accessible to me. And then now as a fighter, like you said, like we only fight a few times a year. You don't know when you're going to fight again. You don't know when you're going to get injured. So I had to really learn about money and savings and budgeting. And nobody taught me these things, you know, like nobody taught me anything. And now I also do day trading as well.
Oh, wow.
I trade on the foreign exchange market. So I trade
complicated too. I'm trying to learn a bit of that, but it was too much math for me. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's impressive.
High level pattern recognition. So I'm trying to like become almost like an alchemist, right? So I want to like turn my money into more money. And I've always had the mindset of like investing and creating and building. And obviously as a fighter and as a dancer, like I'm a high risk taker, you know, like I'm very comfortable with taking risks. Yeah, I've had to change my relationship with money a few different times in my life to be able to like be solid in my heart and soul, to be able to fight freely, right? Because I never want to come from a place of scarcity. I never want to fight thinking like, I have to do this or else. Because when you do that, like you make rash decisions, and I want to be calm and flowing.
Were you self-educated with all this financial stuff? Was that your own doing?
I found a coach, you know.
Awesome.
In the same way that we have to find coaches in fighting, I found a coach in trading. And I just hung on for dear life and paid him a lot of money. Yeah. So, and I was like, teach me. And he did. And now I know. And it's a skill that I've learned and I've attained, and it can never be taken away from me. The things that we learn, the books that you read, all these things are knowledge, and they're intangibles for you now. Like nobody can ever strip that from me. You can take away every dollar that I've ever had. You can take away all my accolades, but you can never take away my knowledge.
So I know you talk a lot about how, you know, your faith is really important to you. Was that something you've had your whole life, or is that something that came later?
It's another thing that I've actually grown as an adult.
Really?
Yeah. I grew up really angry, and I had zero faith in my heart. I grew up, like I said, in the Greek Orthodox churches, right? But I didn't believe in God, and I didn't have a relationship with Jesus. And when I became an adult, I was like, well, I have, you know, me and God, like we have our own thing going on, and I don't want to go to church, but he knows me. We're cool. Right. Yeah. And then it expanded a little bit, and I had a friend who just kept inviting me. And they were so weird, and I love them. I love them so much. I'm still cool with them. They know that they're weird. Yeah. And they kept like just loving me, right? Just right where I was. They just loved me, and they kept inviting me to church. And I'm like, listen, guys, like I love you. That's your thing. Like, let me do me. But I just love them so much. So I finally went with them, and I hated it. I hated it. Well, the first time that I walked into church, it was this whole sermon on tithing. And I was like, so you just want my money? I would hate that. Yeah. And that was just terrible. And they're like, please try to come back. And now, by the way, as a Christian, like I love tithing, and I have a different relationship with tithing. Yeah. But at this time, when you don't understand all these principles and you don't have that relationship, and you walk into church and the first thing they're doing is asking you for your money.
That's money.
Forget it. I was like, I'm out of here. And I just started to try to grow and learn on my own. Yeah. I found a church that I loved and that I felt really comfortable at. And you got to think, girl, I was a stripper. Like, I'm going to walk into church. And at the time, I was still on like a lot of drugs. Like, I'm going to light on fire if I walk in there. Like,
were you open about that when you started going to church?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't hide it. Yeah, there was zero shame. You know, I'm like, this is who I am. Like, take me or don't. And it was rough, you know, to see the judgment from other people. But I accepted myself. And again, I had a father who always loved me. And I'm like, well, if my dad accepts me and if my family accepts me and they know who I am as a person, I don't care what other people think about me.
Right.
So it really gave me permission, you know, to just be me and not give a shit what other people's opinions were. And it was really empowering, actually, to like have that. But I would go to church by myself a lot.
Wow.
Yeah. I would just walk in, get my message, build my relationship, have my conversations. I'd walk up and get prayed for. You know how like people like stand at the altar to pray for people. I would always, every single time, have them pray over me. And I just slowly chipped away and grew that relationship with Jesus in my own heart without the exterior forces of other people trying to push stuff on me.
You've really been like a lone wolf most of your life. Do you feel like you found community at all through MMA or any other types of community, or is this your own thing?
I'm definitely my own thing. I'm definitely my own thing. But I will say that the gym is like my social place and it's my happy place. Yeah. And I do have a lot of friends in the gym. You know, as much of a lone wolf as I am, There are so many people that I love and value, but because I've been to so many places, I've been a part of so many teams, I've had so many mini families, I'm very good at loving people in the moment and accepting that they may not always be there forever.
Yeah.
You know, and that's okay. But I value everyone who's in my life for that time. And I'm always very open and transparent and honest. And I think that, like, as long as you're living your truth, it doesn't matter the path that life takes you on. Like, you never really lose those people. And I love that. Like, there's so many people that I have friends all over the world now that I've built. They're like family to me. And I just love that so much. But it doesn't mean that they're always going to be there. They're always going to be family.
Yeah, and it doesn't invalidate the connection you had with them.
No, the connection's always there.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do you train, by the way, in Vegas?
Currently at the Performance Institute.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I did my whole
awesome.
camp there, this last fight camp. But then sometimes I go over to Extreme, and then sometimes
there
I go
yesterday.
do jujitsu over at Syndicate.
Okay.
And I'll go over to 10th Planet. So
Okay.
it's like I'm
Everywhere.
literally, yeah.
Dude, the guy sounds amazing. I was talking to my girlfriend. She goes all the time. She's just like, I can't believe you haven't been. I'm like, girl, why would I have gone to the PI? Like, they will not let me in there.
Well, now you can come.
It sounds great.
Yeah. It's an incredible facility. So I moved here to Vegas for the Performance Institute.
Yeah. And it's free to use. Like, you can just go in.
For UFC fighters.
For you.
Yes. And our guests.
Yeah. That's
So,
awesome.
Yes, it's amazing. You know, we have recovery there, strength and conditioning coaches, PT, like physical therapists that are there, the nutrition. We get free food when we are in
so
fight
incredible.
camp. We have dietitians that are on staff that literally look at our body metrics and say, this is the food that you need to eat that's going to help you to fuel yourself for training and lose weight appropriately in this time frame for your fight. It's incredible the help that we get there.
There's so much press about how, because especially when you're starting out, it's really difficult financially to be a fighter, right? And like the
100%.
costs of being a fighter, between the diet, between all the supplements you need, like it's insane, the cost of a camp. So it's cool to know that you do have some support, because I know those costs really add up.
Man, the investment that we have to put into ourselves before finally making it to a level where people are investing into us is incredible.
Crazy. How much do you spend on supplements a month?
A lot. Quite a bit. Yeah,
It's
quite
like
a bit.
hundreds, right? Or
Yeah, quite a bit. Because I take a lot of different types of supplements. Like, I take everything that the UFC gives us, which, by the way, they also provide us supplements.
they give you supplements.
They do.
That's sick.
They do. We get vitamins and supplements. And then I also just take a whole lot more other stuff as well. Because
Yeah.
I love health and wellness. I want to be able to like live for the rest of my life a happy lifestyle and a healthy lifestyle outside of being an athlete and a fighter. And like, it's hard. I mean, brain damage is a part of it, right? Like, we're breaking ligaments consistently. Thankfully, I haven't had to have any major surgeries as a fighter, which is pretty unheard of. But yeah, I take a lot of vitamins and supplements.
Do you still pole dance regularly?
I have a pole in my living room.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so all the time. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That's great. I love that you've held on to that. Like, just that it's such a beautiful art form.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. In fact, when I was doing my weight cut, we have to do what's called like, you got to get a sweat going.
Yeah.
I used the pole dancing to get my sweat going before I started my weight cut this last fight.
But you can't be wearing a sauna suit doing that, though.
But I did.
How? How do you get friction?
I'm amazing.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
That's the most impressive thing ever. We're almost out of time here. I don't want to keep you longer than an hour. So a lot of my audience are women, and there's a lot of young women. If you could distill if you could give a piece of advice, it can be about anything. It doesn't have to be about fighting, of something you've learned over the years, because you've led so many different lives.
So many lives.
And so much of it has been self-directed. And you've come out of it being this person who is so unapologetically yourself. Do you have any piece of advice for young women out there?
Learn yourself, not know yourself, because none of us really do, but learn yourself and have confidence in that. Seek those answers. Ask yourself the hard questions. And nobody needs to know the answers to your questions, but you got to know who you are. And that's where confidence comes from. Follow through on things that you tell yourself you're going to do. That just brings so much light to your heart and gives you confidence and like, I said I was going to do this and I did it. Make smaller goals. Understand the big vision, but it's not always going to turn out the way that you want it to, right? So make tiny goals and keep the promises that you make to yourself. Hold your values and learn yourself.
It's amazing. I love the keep promises that you make to yourself. I think that's the number one thing.
1,000,000%. And we all want to reach for the stars.
Yeah.
You know, but make the smaller goals and just keep those small promises to yourself. And when you look in the mirror, don't forget to tell yourself how much you love yourself. You know, I think that we all just kind of forget that. Like the way that we speak to us, this is the biggest voice that you're ever going to hear, is the one that you say to yourself. I talk to me more than anybody else does. So I better be kind.
Yeah.
You know, like some people are so rude to themselves. And like you would never talk to your best friend the way that you talk to yourself. Right. So remember that and speak kindly to yourself because that's so important.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Where can people find you, Vanessa?
Find me Lil Monster Demo on Instagram. I'm a little bit wilder and crazier on my Instagram than I am in real life. Okay. But I'm always coming from a good place. So come over to Instagram,
her on Instagram. Guys. Okay. Any handsome Christian men? I guess you don't want DMs, but follow her respectfully.
Oh, I will accept DMs from handsome Christian men. Yeah.
I'll use.
And that wraps up our conversation with Vanessa. I'm going to put her socials here on the screen. Please don't forget to follow her. If you are an audio listener on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I'll put it in the description. And if you want to support the show, please like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, maybe leave a review. And interacting with our sponsors using my promo code, that also goes a really long way. I really appreciate your guys' support, and I will see you on the next episode. I've got some cool guests lined up.